Welcome, everybody, to a surprise episode 206 of the effing title. And this week, or today, I should say at least, I am here with only one other person, and that is the boy, Rob. Rob, how we doing?
Fucking swell.
I was gonna say, like me and him haven't been playing games and talking for the last 4.5 hours. Anyways, we have some decently big news, and the only reason why it's just Rob today is because me and Rob are the only two out of the group that really kind of follows all of this stuff. Fedge doesn't really follow the XFL, USFL stuff. Me and Rob did last year. So they announced the intent to merge. What was that, like a month or two ago? I think something like that.
Yeah. No,
And
they announced the intent to merge was a while ago.
yeah, and now we've
Or at
actually
least the
started to get.
possibility of it.
Now we've gotten like a official news. We're starting to see some new stuff. Take all of this with grains of salt, right? But we just thought, you know what, we'd give our 2 cents with us following this for a little bit for the last year or so. The mergers have now officially been finalized. It's been approved. It is all through the what was it called there? Regulators and what's the actual terminology
No,
they used? We have yeah, the
lawyers and all that shit.
yep. This is the official thing that was said was we are pleased to have completed the antitrust review process in connection with the proposed merger of the XFL and USFL and intend to play a combined season this upcoming spring, kicking off on Saturday, March 30th, 2024. We are now finalizing terms of the definitive agreement, and we will share more about this new league in the upcoming weeks. So, with that being said, right, I just saw some new stuff, and me and Rob started talking about it. And I said, you know what, screw it, let's do this so we can talk about it with you guys too. So, in a tweet from John Vogel at Draft Vogel, he said that it is finalized and approved. The XFL will retain 4 teams. The USFL will retain 4 teams. So it's going to be an 8-team league, which is along the same lines with everything else that we've been hearing and rumors we've been hearing. And he says, not what we hoped and expected. What do you think? 8 teams.
I At first when we first talked about it, I didn't like it. I thought they should have done 5 from each,
Yep.
make it 10 teams total. But the more we're kind of sitting here talking about it, the more it does logistically make sense. Because with these leagues, the biggest problem is the financial burden of the leagues, and that's why they usually fold, right? Because football is very fucking expensive, whether you like it or not. It's fucking expensive.
Like, it makes a
So
lot of money, but I don't think people fully understand how much money it takes to put into the leagues.
exactly, yeah, like not even like it makes a lot of money eventually.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about this the other day with somebody, and it's like you look at college football, it costs roughly about $5 million to start a college football program. So you don't start seeing that, and you maybe make 3 million a year. So it takes about 5 years before you even start making money on your investment. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with these leagues, and they're not getting the same fans in attendance. So it's not like we're sitting here comparing it to what the NFL makes. It's not even close. So it does make sense why they are, especially depending on if the teams that they're alleging are going to be the ones that join. It makes a lot of sense because logistically, less travel. They're all in places where there are stadiums already, or they already have a partnership or a deal with stadiums, so
Yep.
they don't have to pay more money. Like, I mean, some of these teams play at the same stadium, so it's like it makes sense.
Yeah. So
Um,
the teams as of right now, from what we are being told, right, or what we are seeing, the teams as of right now are the Arlington Renegades, DC Defenders, San Antonio Brahmas, and the St. Louis Battlehawks. That is from the XFL. From the USFL, it is the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Gamblers, the Memphis Showboats, and the Michigan Panthers. So I guess let's start just with one side or the other. So let's start XFL. What do we think about those 4, though?
I
Because I know you and me have talked about this before, and we've always break it down to kind of the like which of the teams that bring money, right? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, so again, it was what? It was San Antonio.
San
Uh,
Antonio, St. Louis, DC, and Arlington are the ones that made it. So the ones that didn't
yeah,
make it
I,
is Houston, Orlando,
I
Vegas, and Seattle.
yeah, the only one that's confusing to me when you just look at it from a XFL standpoint
Mm,
is San Antonio. That one is weird. You watch
yes.
those games. There's not a lot of fans there. And honestly, they were an average team.
Yep, there were three
It's
and
not like
seven.
they were really good. Like you could even say the same thing about Arlington, but at the end of the day, Arlington didn't they win the whole thing? Like
Yeah,
so, I guess it makes sense why you kind of have to bring your champion.
yeah, right.
It'd be weird if it'd be weird if you didn't bring your champ.
Hmm.
Um, but you know what I mean. So it's just like
Like
uh,
and that's the thing is
I
like I genuinely
Washington has existed in some form in almost every one of these things. Like even in the other leagues that folded and stuff like that, they were still a team.
yeah.
Like Washington has a good fan base. It has good attendance.
I mean shit. They
They're
taking apart that
yeah.
just the on field play, they were fucking 9-1.
That's the thing. They're usually pretty good
Yeah,
too. Like and
they.
that helps. I mean, they had that whole beer snake thing that they did,
Hmm.
and I know it's been a few leagues that a Washington team's been a part of, so that one makes sense to me. I have no questions, no doubts on that one. Um, St. Louis, I mean, you had to take St. Louis. They
Yeah,
fucking had the best attendance out of any of these leagues ever.
I'm pretty sure.
Like,
I'm pretty sure they almost cracked 40K at one of the games.
yeah, I mean, it's something we talked about a lot. Is I'm surprised they don't try and put more of these teams in places that used to have NFL teams that don't anymore.
Yeah. So
Um,
they had so of course they had four, I think four home games. So they had 38K, 35K, 35K, 33K. So it's like Jesus fuck. All right, yeah. Um,
it's they were a no brainer to me. Like
yeah.
if you didn't have them, I'd sit there and go, you want to make money.
Orlando and Vegas not being in makes sense. Both of those programs are just kind of
Well, I'm surprised that there really isn't a replacement for Orlando. I definitely thought
they would put someone in like
they
a.
would put someone in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I understand Vegas completely. Vegas has they now with the athletics going there. They now have a major baseball team, football team, hockey team. Like and they have the Vegas,
Yeah.
and they weren't using a real facility. Like it makes perfect sense to me why.
I'm never gonna forget fucking me messaging you and telling you to turn that game on, the very first one that Vegas played at home, because it was on if I remember correctly, it was like a semi-pro baseball field.
Oh, minor
Minor
league
league. It was
baseball
a minor
field.
league baseball field, and it was one of those things where I told Rob to turn it on. And I was like, "It's bad," and he didn't believe me. And then he looked, and he's like, oh, okay." So that's what's happening. Um,
Yeah, it's bad. It was bad, that's for sure.
yeah.
Um,
So that one
and
makes sense. The Seattle
oh,
one
and
is
that
this. The Seattle one is intriguing, right? It's something we can
but
talk about at the
it's
end, but
I was gonna say it makes a lot of sense
yeah,
once you bring in the other side and who was chosen from the other side.
yeah.
So
So, going to the USFL side, we have the Birmingham Stallions, Houston Gamblers, the Memphis Showboats, and the Michigan Panthers. Um,
I think these ones are absolute no brainers.
yep. I mean,
The Memphis Showboat name is one of
well, that's the
the.
thing is like I was gonna say the two that kind of were meh to me, like I don't know, were the Gamblers and Showboats, but they have the history with the name.
I was gonna say the Memphis Showboats and the Houston Gamblers. When you think of spring league football,
Yep.
those are the two names that almost everybody knows because
Yep.
they've been in almost every league since the 70s.
Hmm.
But they go back to the AFL days and shit like that. Like
Yeah.
they've
These are
been
these
around
are these are
forever.
these are like legacy teams sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
So
it
and
makes
but
sense.
with that, they may not sell out their stands or anything like that, but they have followers from just people that love football. They
Exactly.
have random people that follow them, so it makes sense. Um, Michigan and Birmingham.
Birmingham.
You said right, the
Yep.
other two.
Those have been.
Birmingham's been the best team out of both these leagues, in my opinion, um, and they've been very good at. They're kind of like Washington, where they have a lot of former NFL players on their team or guys
Mhm.
that are still trying to get back into the NFL. So it makes a lot of sense to me why they're there. And then Michigan was kind of surprising.
Michigan's defense has been very good since the USFL restarted back up. I think
It
that's one of the bigger things. Is like,
surprising more so for me because they have an NFL team and
yep,
they have two of the bigger college programs
true.
in the country. So that one was a little surprising, but I don't know who you replace them with
I mean,
unless you went like they were saying before, unless they went XFL gets 5
yeah.
and they take Seattle. That's
So I mean,
probably what the whole debate was,
the
is
other
Seattle and Michigan, honestly.
the other thing as well is that so you lose the New Orleans Breakers, you lose the New Jersey Generals, you lose Philadelphia Stars, and this is the only other one that I
That
feel.
one's surprising.
Well,
The
so this
Philadelphia Stars one is very surprising.
well then
Because they're another name.
you lose the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Yeah, that one to me, that one's not as big of a deal, especially because, and I understand why they probably did the Philly one too, is because when you look at it, the teams that their city is a city that has all the major sports that go
Mm-hmm.
through all the other teams. Which of them actually have all four major sports? The only one there is going to be the DC Defenders.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? No one else has all four major sports. Philly
that's
has all four major sports.
yep.
Pittsburgh has all four major sports. Like, even Seattle kind of makes sense. Seattle has all four major sports pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lot, and I think that's part of the business side of things.
So one of the rumors that was being said at one point, or one of the things I'd found online that was being said, was the reason why this has been held up for so long is because the XFL wanted 5 teams for the USFL to have 3 teams, because the XFL wanted to keep the Roughnecks over the Gamblers, and eventually they just said the
I
Gamblers.
think that's dumb. I would have said Seattle over Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, to me,
Um.
I mean, one of the biggest things I know we talked about it, is the fact that there's 3 Texas teams
Yes.
is weird. It does make sense. Texas loves football,
But
but at the same time, and it does make sense logistically because less travel.
and that's the next thing that we were going to talk about is the
Yeah.
logistics of it, and this is something that we're playing into account into a lot of what we're saying right now as well, because like Rob's a Seattle fan, Rob is a Seattle Sea Dragons fan.
Hmm.
As soon as we picked teams to the XFL, that was the team he picked. So, but logistically, it makes sense because if you look at a lot of these teams, they're East Coast and Central, and
And
traveling, the expenses of traveling, the expenses of all of that, it makes more sense for them if they're going to merge and try to make this thing last a little while. It makes sense for them to try and just kind of contain everything as much as they can
oh,
while
dude,
also being unique enough.
I can guarantee you those Texas teams are, when they play each other, they're taking a bus.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They're not they're that's so much cheaper than
Mm-hmm.
fucking flying people all over the place. And then again, you look at the other ones like Birmingham, they have a stadium there. I
Yep.
mean, and this is the thing a lot of people don't know, but the USFL, they only had, like, for all 8 of their teams, they only had 3 sites that they actually played games at.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was either three or
Whereas the
four sites.
XF,
I forgot which one it
whereas the
was.
XFL had everyone had their own field,
Yeah.
which is partly why the XFL didn't had needed to merge, right? Is
Yeah.
because they just couldn't afford it. But um, I think logistically it makes a lot more sense with the teams that they picked. A lot less travel. Um, the Michigan team, again, the only one that's weird to me is Michigan because they're the one that's way up north compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Like,
That is true. That is true.
but the rest of them, I mean, they're all below the Mason-Dixon line, dude. Like,
Yeah.
they,
It's kind of it's gonna be just traveling around doing their things. Um, the thing as well is that like so there's apparently the way they or something I saw the way it's been being worded apparently because all this stuff is rumors and just kind of appearance and this and that until we actually fully get from the at sources, what we should know is that they will be expanding in 2025. They'll be adding a fifth team to each side, sort of thing. So now,
I
right
think that's going to depend on
on
how
this,
successful this
yes.
is.
So my thing is this though, is that and this is where we can kind of just idea and put our and put our conspiracy thinking caps on. If you're doing a fifth team, do we take a team that's already existed, or do we add a brand new one? Because, for instance, the one that I kind of still think they should do is have a team in Canton.
I think they're going to go the brand new route, and I think honestly, I think they're going to go with places that have lost teams.
Yep.
I think a big one that we talked about is, now I don't know, I mean, especially now that the Athletics have left the Coliseum in Oakland, there is now no football team and no baseball team, and they have this massive stadium that's open. I would be stunned.
Mm-hmm.
They could probably get it for so cheap.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I'd be stunned if they don't attempt to freaking put a team there.
And especially with the Athletics getting out of there as well, you can turn that into a true into a true football field if they wanted.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I agree. I think
that's one of the ones,
no brainer.
Because that's one of the ones that we've heard ex players talk about. Because I know I recently saw JJ. I think it was JJ Watt talking about it, where it's like certain places on that field, if you tackle someone, you're tearing at least 3 layers of skin off. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, if there's no one there anymore, there's no point in having that there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of it. Let's boom.
I think that's one. Now, logistically, that's the big thing there. I agree with the Canton one because, again, Canton, they've got a field already. The Hall of Fame has the field. That's where they play the Hall of Fame game.
I mean, I think
they don't play at the same time, so there is a stadium sitting there. I mean, there's so many, and that's where the birthplace of football was.
I was gonna say, think about the potential of that too, right? You can get a team in Canton, you can have them basically play the entire season there, and then once the season's over with, then it's the preseason game. We always do in Canton every year, the very first game. It would merge and fold right into the NFL as well.
It would. That one's got a lot of promise, I think, and I think it'd be silly for them not to try that one.
Outside of those, though, I don't know. Maybe a team in the Oklahoma-Nebraska range. Maybe a team up in the Dakotas. I know we've talked about that one before.
I think the Oklahoma-Nebraska stuff is tough because they are so into their college team, and like to the point where what do they focus on during the spring?
Yeah, exactly.
The spring game recruit, like that's what they're focused on. They're still going to stay focused on that, whereas these other areas, especially, I mean, if they're going to start trying to go up north. No one gives a crap about spring games up north.
Yeah, true.
No one cares. So I think if they want to actually expand because they're doing well, and I think an obvious one is to start moving up north where college football isn't as big, because college football is pretty much in its second season once you get to the spring. So I think that's a pretty good one. I wouldn't be surprised, again, if they try to dip back into Florida, just because I think there's a lot of area for success there. But again, I don't know.
Because we've had
those teams have been so bad.
I was gonna say it's kind of the wild one, because we had like the Guardians were there. Before the Guardians, it was the Vipers. The Tampa Bay Bandits for the USFL were there. I know there's been another or other ones.
The team that was pretty good in the first rerun of this was that Arizona team.
The Arizona Wildcats. Oh no, it was the Arizona Wildcats?
I don't know whatever they were, but Wildcats.
So I just randomly thought, right?
They were the yellow team. They were like the wildfire people. That was their whatever word that is.
2020, because it was the 2020 season. It wasn't this most recent one. It was the first redo of it. If I can find the first redo of it. 2020 season. There we go. Thank you. All right. So in the very first one, you had the Dallas Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, the LA Wildcats, Seattle Dragons. Then you had DC Defenders, New York Guardians, St. Louis Battlehawks, and the Tampa Bay Vipers.
I want to say it was the USFL.
But I mean, like for instance, the random one that popped to my head. Actually, no, I think I know which one you're talking about, Rob. It wasn't USFL. It was AAF.
Yeah, that one, the AFL.
So the AAF had the Atlanta Legends, the Birmingham Iron, the Memphis Express, the Orlando Apollos, and then they had the Arizona Hotshots,
That's what they were.
St. Louis Stallions, San Antonio Commanders, and the San Diego Fleet. And then before all of this, to show you guys just how much we remember this stuff and how far back our minds go with this, you have the UFL, which was the United Football League, which was the Florida Tuskers, the Hartford Colonials, Las Vegas Locomotives, Omaha Nighthawks, Sacramento Mountain Lions, and the Virginia Destroyers. Along with the California Redwoods, which no longer existed after one season, and the New York Sentinels, which no longer existed after one season. So, like, we have plenty. There's been plenty of old. This is the thing. There's been plenty of these spring leagues that have popped up. For the first time ever, we have two that are attempting to try and make it work long term.
Yep, that's the big one. I think it's
but out of all the, out of these ones that we just mentioned, though, Arizona would be a cool one to see, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of the beginning of going into the West as well. Because if you did Arizona and then if you did the Oakland team, that would work. San Diego. I mean, shit, do those three right there, and then do Canton. Boom. That's 4 teams you can add right there, 2 to each. So now we're 6 and 6, so we're at 12.
Well, I didn't even think of San Diego. San Diego would be a good one too.
Right. Well, that's the reason I'm saying is because it's on the AAF page right here. They're right next to each other, so it's like, yeah, boom, there you go.
I think those markets though, like where they had a football team and then they don't have one anymore. I think those are easy places to. You're naturally going to get fans.
And that's the thing is,
I supported that team.
And that's the thing is, I think the Battlehawks showed that. I think St. Louis and the Battlehawks showed that last year, and even in the 2020 redo of the XFL, they showed that, like, look, if you put a team in its place where there used to be one, you're gonna get people. People are going to come out to games.
I think so. I think it's a no-brainer.
Now the one of the other things just so we can quick talk about is which rules do you think they'll take? XFL or USFL? Or do you think they'll somehow bastardize both of them together? Sort of thing?
There weren't many differences. The big difference was the challenge thing.
Mm-hmm.
But besides the challenge thing, there weren't a lot of differences with the rules.
Was the kickoff the same? Because I don't remember if the kickoff was the same.
No, the kickoff is a different one. I hope that one was dumb to me. But I think overtime was different. Because I think overtime was more like the NFL style with the USFL. And the XFL is definitely, obviously, more college style. So I'll be surprised to see which ones they take. It's actually a nice topic I haven't even thought of, but I think most likely they'll probably keep the USFL rules for the majority, and then overtime and the challenge rule. Because I didn't hear a single negative thing about the challenge thing.
I didn't. The only other thing, the USFL has the opportunity to go for 1, 2, or 3. That was the other thing.
Oh, yeah, that one too. They might keep that one too. That way you get the uniqueness of both leagues. Because I don't think you can just pick one to go with. You know what I mean?
I think they're going to merge, like kind of merge and adapt the rules. So this will be like one from this, one from like kind of because like the double forward pass thing is in both leagues.
I do know the roster sizes are much bigger now.
90 for the let's rephrase. As of right now, what we have seen online from rumors and from other sources is that 90 people is going to be the roster size.
Yeah, before it was it was 60, and you had to whittle it down to 45.
Yeah. So if we're starting at
So
90 now, that's
it's starting at 90, so it sounds like they're going to go more
more.
NFL
Yep.
style
And probably
with
go 50.
90, whittle it down to probably 55 or something like that, whatever the number is, which is huge. I mean, that means it's that many more people getting an opportunity to play, which means you're going to have more talent out there on the field, you
Exactly.
know? And the more talent on the field, the better the product we're going to be watching, the more likely it is to succeed. Because one of the only issue in these leagues there's been two big issues in these leagues. The first one is the offensive line play,
Hmm.
and the reason I say them first is because when it's horrible, it makes the more important one, the quarterback play, look way worse
Yeah.
when the O-line plays terrible. You know what I mean? So if they can have more talented people doing those spots, I think it's huge for the league and its success rate.
So I mean, as of right now, I like the extra point. Keep it as 1, 2, 3. I honestly like the kickoff just because it makes it different. That's my big thing, and I think that especially with these leagues, keeping things different is a massive thing to helping. That's just me though.
I
Um,
know, but I know the biggest reason they went to that method though is because it is a play where a lot of injuries happen, and because of their roster sizes,
yes.
that's why they did it. It eliminated injuries
So
so that they could.
if the roster size does go up, it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, I would assume they'd go to normal kickoffs if they're going to have bigger rosters,
And then
because now you could.
I was gonna say the other thing is that was
Hold
the
on one sec.
the onside kick that they got rid of. Oh,
I
actually,
think
they
I
didn't
did
get
that
rid
in
of it. They
both
had
leagues
two
though.
options. There was two options to it.
Yeah.
Either it's onside kick or it's 4th and 15.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they had both those
Yep,
ones.
it is. It's yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I wasn't sure if it was. You have two options: either the traditional one or 4th and 15. Funny though, it's 4th and 15 in the XFL. It's 4th and 12 in the USFL.
Yeah, but it's not as far in the XFL. Wasn't it on the 20?
On
I
the
think in the
XFL, it's from the
USFL.
25-yard line. On the USFL, it's from the 33-yard line.
Yes, yeah, it's closer, so it's not as drastic, I
Yeah.
guess.
Overtime consists of alternating attempts from opponent's 5-yard line, 3 attempts per team, 2 points per score, or until a winner is decided in the XFL. In the USFL, overtime will be a shootout in which teams' offense will alternate plays against opposing defense from the 2-yard line. So yeah, so it's the same thing. It's basically just shootout rules. You're at the 5, you're at the 3, you're at the 2 sort of thing, and it's just go go go, boom boom boom. Which defense wins? You know. And then of course, like we said, we like the replay of the XFL and all that having was it Bendino? Was that who was in the eye in the sky?
Yes,
Having him,
same guy that does the officiating stuff for the NFL.
yeah, having him as the eye in the sky, and literally at any point in the game, he can just be like, "Nope, pause. We're looking at this."
Yeah,
Awesome. The one challenge being you can challenge any single play at all, as long as you have to word it right though. So if I say I'm going to challenge for defense pass interference, and they look and it's defensive holding, I still lose because I challenged defensive pass interference. Or if I call
Mhm.
holding and instead it's face mask, like I like that. I think that's a solid one that they need to keep too.
I agree. I like that one too.
But yeah, no, like I said, we saw that there was some more news coming out. This is the best so far thing we've seen so far that looks and makes the most sense. So we just wanted to share this with you guys and talk a little football. You know, anything with this as well that you would want to add to this, Rob? That you know.
No, I hope everything they've come out is true, and I look forward to it. It's always fun in the spring to have some competitive professional football, you know. And I do hope that they keep the everything's mic'd up. Like
Mm,
I hope they keep the coaches mic'd up and things like that, because that brings a lot of entertainment value. I I hope they go to the more serious style that the USFL had, though, compared to the XFL. Like I don't need the sideline interviews after they make a big play.
yes, I
That
agree with that one.
that's wrestling style. This isn't wrestling.
Yeah.
Like I don't. No offense to Joe Schmo out there. I don't know who he is. I don't care who he is. I just want to see football.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Talking to a guy on the sidelines that just made a 70-yard interception, got tackled at the 3-yard line, and he's sitting there going, "Oh, you see, I did what coach told me, and
yeah,
hold up, I gotta get back out there now." No one wants to see that. Like,
yeah, it's silly. I don't need all that.
um,
It's cool, but I don't need it. I don't need it every time.
so the other thing as well is that with some of these guys, because I know like Frank, oh god, I'm gonna butcher his last name right now because I can't fully remember it. Frank, is it Grinda? Yeah, Frank Ginda, was the league leader for tackles in the USFL. He recently signed to the Atlanta Falcons, and AJ McCarron is on from the St. Louis Battlehawks is on the Cincinnati Bengals. I know for a fact AJ McCarron, if he wants to go back, he still has his contract with the XFL, with the Battlehawks, so he will just go straight back to the Battlehawks. I don't know if that's how it works in the USFL. I know that's how it's supposed to work in the XFL. So it'll be interesting to see this. So his final thought, and this is something that everyone watching this can comment down below what you guys think. Who's a name or two that you would like to see in the XFL, USFL Spring League here? Who's a name or two that you would like to see? Just random off the top of your head.
It's a tough one. The ones that always intrigued me are like the running backs that were really good in college, but then like for some reason just never popped in the NFL. Those guys are always fun and exciting. Same thing with some receivers. Like I like honestly the guys that are labeled as busts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd love to see like Josh Rosen come out of retirement and fucking play in one of these leagues.
That'd be kind of
Or
cool.
like, he's honestly like I think he's too old now, but like someone like Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
Like huge busts. But let's see. Maybe in this league he could fucking tear it up and get his shit going.
Right? I mean, I was about to say. I was going to say Cam. I was going to say Cam.
Yeah, he'll never do it.
He never. I don't think he will, but I think it would be, especially with him being like, oh, I've been calling teams and they're not answering. Well, here's a way to get an organization that's basically brand new to an extent to fully back you, and it's an easy way to entertain an NFL team. Right? Because this is another thing we've talked about, is that, like, if I'm looking at guys that are either like practice squad guys or even like potentially like trying to make the roster guys, you better believe I'm going to be looking at these guys. They've just got done playing a full season. That's a full season worth of tape that you have now.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? It makes life so much easier because now you can see, and it's like, okay, it may not be the exact same level as what they're going against if they go to the NFL, but it's going to be a step above college. So
it is. It's honestly, I would say if you really look at the talent level and all that, like it's the same as like the CFL. Like you watch that stuff, it's still very competitive football. There's not a lot of blowouts. Like it's the hard part is that you expect that all these guys are going to be just like their college, but you got to remember these are NFL coaches trying to fucking work with these players. Like they're not just sitting there going, hey, yeah, let's just fucking run what they ran in college. We're not running the fucking zone triple option up tempo as fast as we can. They're trying to run pro schemes because they're going against pro defenses, So it'll be interesting to see how everything works out this year. I'm excited.
So I mean, I just brought up the top 100 free agency list as of right this second. Right? Or 5 days ago, mind you. But still, like, just some random names. Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Brian Edwards, because he was supposed to be the next big thing. Robert Quinn, if you wanted to just monkey around for have some fun for a season. Greedy Williams. Max Williams.
I'd love to see Carson Wentz.
Landon Collins, Sammy Watkins. Right now, also remember, we are listing a lot of these guys that are Caleb Huntley actually could be a good one at 24 years old. We're naming more guys that are a little bit older, have some name recognition, so they could bring it to the team. But then at the same time, though, like we would like to see some guys like make a name for themselves here, get a chance on an NFL team, tear it up on the NFL team as well, because then it's like, look, there's this one guy did it. It means you could too.
It's very true.
And just for the hell of it, let's just take a look here. Just for the hell of it. Okay, so let's see here. So, available. Colt McCoy. Chase Daniels. Will Greer. Trace McSorley. Bryce Perkins. Matt Barkley. Jake Fromm. Ben DiNucci probably will go back. Brett Ripien.
Yeah.
You know, so... But that's what we, like I said, we just wanted to talk some spring football, which we don't get to do a whole lot. So we want to talk some spring football with y'all. Surprise, Husky! Surprise the effing title episode. So, but let us know what you guys think. Did you guys watch the USFL XFL this past season? Who's your favorite teams? Mine's the Battlehawks. Rob's was the Seattle Sea Dragons. He was also a Pittsburgh Maulers fan. I was a Michigan Panthers fan. Are you guys excited? Who are some players that you would like to see come to this brand new league, and what's your ideas for the new name? There you go, Rob. Final thing. What do you think for a new name? What do you think?
The ZFL.
Oh, the ZFL. I'm just gonna go. I just call it the UFL. Call it the United Football League. Boom. End it there. Make it easy for everyone. Right. You have the National. You have the United. Boom. But let us know down in the comments down below what you guys think. And as always, depending on where you are, morning, after, even night, stay out, trouble, stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Imagine who was the other quarterback there. It was AJ McCarron, and then who was the guy from Georgia? That same, like, yearish. Aaron Murray. Imagine if Aaron Murray comes back.